How's it going, everyone? My name's Colton Marvellius, or as the internet calls me, ill-fitting trousers.
I'm Brennan Howard, and as the internet calls me, stupid little idiot or Quirkus Jerkus.
And this is the weekly rundown, the only podcast that has Uno. You can't call it now. Can't call it now. Too late. We called it. um. Anyway, we today we have a wonderful guest named Violet Unversed. Violet, how's it going today?
It's going great. Thanks for having me on. How are you guys doing this wonderful day?
I'm doing pretty good. It was a long day at work, but I'm really happy to have you here for sure.
Cool, cool. Let's get started.
Yeah, so Violet, you are in you do cosplay, right?
That is true. I love doing cosplay. It's like my favorite hobby to work on.
So and like you all obviously have all these posted on your social medias as well. Like where can they find you to check out your cosplay?
All my cosplays I post primarily on Instagram and Twitter. It's the same username on both, Violet Unversed.
Perfect. Okay, and we'll also have all those links in the description below if you guys want to check her out. But today we wanted to talk about the topic cosplay, which is perfect, obviously, with our guest here. Um, and we just wanted to talk about kind of like the beginnings for people who are interested in getting into cosplay. Some maybe more of the technical stuff. Just anything and everything cosplay is on the table today. Violet, is there anything particular that you want to start out the conversation with?
Um, that cosplay is not a scary thing to do, and anybody who wants to try it should definitely give it a shot. It's a really fun time, even if you're just wearing clothes that almost don't fit you right and mucking around with your friends in the parking lot of the convention. It's just always a good time.
That's okay. That's actually I really like that you said it wasn't scary because like every time I think about like ever doing cosplay or anything, I love costume video game costumes and everything. They look so great. But like it's so scary to like jump into. I feel like it.
Like it
Oh, go
it
ahead.
can be tricky to start with for sure. Like all the clothing does look kind of weird if you're more self-conscious, it can be like, "Oh no, what if people see me in this weird striped t-shirt and baseball cap or whatever you're cosplaying from?" But having friends with you, especially if you're doing group cosplays together, helps a lot. And sometimes you can just slip into the confidence of whatever character you're cosplaying as and being like, "Oh, hoo, hoo. Nobody knows who I am. They'll just be super happy to see my Aqua or my Miku or whatever I'm wearing that day."
Yeah, actually, Aqua was where the costume I met you in. I think
Yeah, I
at
wore
Cage.
that one. Yeah, at KH20, I wore that one, or at least most of that one, on the first Friday of that event. It was really hot, so I wasn't wearing all of the pieces because comfort's also really important. Don't get heat stroke or hurt yourself for cosplay, please.
Yeah. Because I remember. So I have a. I technically I do have a costume.
Ooh.
I had a Joker costume. From Persona 5.
Okay, I was about to ask, is this like Marvel Joker? Or wait, no, DC has Joker, not Marvel. I'm fake fan for comic books, don't worry about it.
Yeah, no, but you're all good. But yeah, it was Persona 5, and like I wanted to wear like a costume for E3, like the first year I went, but I don't know if you guys know what Joker looks like, but he wears like this long coat, and it's like it was E3's during summer, and it was
Oh,
just it's not the best costume to wear during a summer convention at all.
not at
Um,
all.
so I never actually wore it to the convention just because I didn't want to die in a room full of like 10,000 people. That would be terrible.
That's definitely understandable. I was just at Techo this past weekend, and it was egregiously hot at that convention this year. It was probably like upper 80s, mid 90s with a decent amount of humidity the whole time. So there's definitely cosplays I plan for summer cons and cosplays I plan for winter cons for the sake of not having heat stroke and also not getting frostbite.
Yeah, no, I that's yeah. I also the winter side of that will be definitely something I haven't even thought about either.
You
like,
can wear Joker then, it'll be fine.
yeah, that's true. I just gotta find a winter convention to go to. Um, but yeah, so what was your first costume you've ever made?
Okay, the first costume I ever made myself was probably, Korra. I made it, back in my freshman year of college.
Did you say Korra?
Korra, yeah, from
What?
the Avatar series, Legend of Korra.
That's awesome.
Nice.
I'm a huge Avatar fan actually too. I love that's like my favorite show. I'm always actually I'm like literally going through the like the actual novels right now for Avatar also. Like the
Oh, the
Kyoshi
Kyoshi
novel.
novels? Those they're
Y-
so good, I read those last year, they're so
They're
good.
good. And then the well I'm on young God, I'm gonna butcher her name, but the airbender avatar before Aang.
Yanchen,
Yes.
or
Okay.
something close to that at the very least.
Yeah, but it's so good so far, and I love it. And now like we're getting all this Avatar news too now, and it's Avatar's like one of my favorite my favorite character is like probably Bolin, and that's like another cosplay I think I would love to do at some point too.
He is a good boy, you can embody all the good boy
Yeah,
energy and have a great time,
yeah.
or have pure chaotic energy and go get drunk and have some noodles late at night if you really want to, it's fine.
And that like just carrying around a stuffed Pavu or something would be fun too.
Yeah, they sold those at the Nickelodeon store at the Mall of America for a while. I don't know if they still have them or not. They're
Okay,
adorable.
I have to find one. Yeah. Brendan, is there any like cosplay that you think you would ever want to do?
Oh, yeah. I've been thinking about it a lot lately. I'm thinking I'd love to get into cosplay. It sounds fun. First things first, I need to go to a convention.
Do that, it's a
Um,
great
Yeah.
time.
but specifically, what I'd want to dress up as, I wouldn't have any ideas. I guess it depend on the convention, really.
Well, I
Yeah.
always I always ask this to my friends. So if skill is not a factor and if your budget is not a factor, what is the dream cosplay? Like the holy grail character you would love to do.
Oh,
You know,
I know that
you
one.
can't go wrong with Darth Vader. I feel like you could bring him to any convention,
Yeah.
and it's always a hit.
Yeah,
I
there was one of those running around Techo this past weekend and it was very well done.
honestly I thought Brendan was gonna say Master Chief. Like if like budget was not an option, like I just feel like you would want that armor just to display in
Yeah,
your
it's
room first
cool.
too. But gosh, I think my dream one would hard. That's actually a way harder question than I thought. But honestly, Bolin again. I might have to just go with Bolin because that just seems like such a fun character to have and be. Do do you have a dream one that you haven't got to accomplish, Violet?
Yes, mostly because there's a lot of skills that I still want to learn and get better at before I can start working on her. Have
Okay.
either of you guys ever played the old PS2 game or its remake recently of Odin Sphere?
No, I have no idea about that game.
All right, well, it's a fantastic game made by Vanillaware and then published by Atlas. And the lead character or the first protagonist you play as is this wonderful Valkyrie named Gwendolyn. And she is beautiful and it's amazing. And she has these wings right around her waist that I really want to figure out how to do like robotics type animatronics to make them open like properly instead of just like on one axis.
That would be
So
that would be
I,
really cool. I think I've seen like just in my research. I think I saw like Mercy Wings from Overwatch that do that. I think
yeah,
yeah, like that's really cool. I think I robotics would be yeah, I get why the skill thing would be a big factor in that too. That can't be easy.
yeah. Or I mean, it might be for someone who knows how to do it already, but
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it yet. So I will probably pick some project that lets me do simple robotics to dip my toes in it and then figure out from there how to make the more complicated one that I really want to go to.
I seem to see like a lot of wings in cosplay. So it definitely be easy enough to figure out. There's definitely got to be resources that you
Yeah,
can look at, tutorials and whatnot.
for sure. I think the biggest thing is most of the wings I've seen just like they're flat on your back and they open on like just one axis. But
Hmm.
for these specifically, they, like, kind of curl forward around her waist, so they'd have to, like, go flat to your back and then, like, open all the way. So
Uh,
multiple planes of movement in there that I wanna figure out how to do.
Okay.
okay. I didn't know what you meant by that the axis part. Now I do. Like that
Yeah.
like totally clicks now. But yeah, that would be really cool actually. Just yes, anything that gives like it a bit of flair to like okay, so you gave me some resources to check out as well, and it was gosh, what was her name? I'm gonna butcher that name too, but this girl, she had like this kind of accent thing.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
Kamui Cosplay. She's, I forget what country she lives in exactly, but it's over in Europe somewhere.
Okay, she was awesome, but
Yeah.
I ended up going down like a rabbit hole of just foam
Mhm.
props for like just different cosplays, and foam is my favorite thing to see now. Like it
Yeah,
is.
it's super versatile material. It's amazing the people who are masters with it, what they can do with it, for sure.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I mean like I think they sold me because on Star Wars stuff for sure. Like I saw the he built a helmet for the Inferno Squad
Mhm.
for Battlefront 2 because she had like a sponsorship with them, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
And then that brought me down the rabbit trail to another guy who built a Mandalorian helmet for Boba Fett, and just all these different like weapons and just props, and it's like so interesting to see all the things how versatile foam can be, I guess.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And you
I
can really get that like cartoonishly oversized kind of stuff with it without being super overweight, huh?
yeah, for sure. Foam is it's a wonderful material. I don't use it too much myself because I am a stickler for like perfect geometry and I'm really bad at doing that with my own two hands.
I,
But I still have a couple sheets of foam that I will pull out and use if I need to in a pinch.
so is there any foam thing you've ever made though that you really liked that turned out well?
Um,
Do you know?
have it's not all the way finished. I made that star cluster Mickey's Keyblade from Kingdom Hearts 3 out of foam. I want like
Oh,
during 2020 when the world shut down and I wasn't working, so I spent like a month in my parents' basement doing foam crafting and getting
but
that ready to go.
I
It's
yeah, that I guess that's the best time to work on your craft though, is that like time period there for sure.
Yeah, it's not all there's like one or two things I need to do to finish it up still before I can prime and paint it, but I've gotten like a lot deeper into 3D printing since then and I'm just sitting here like I could finish the one that I started or I could make it better.
Actually,
So,
I also like your 3D prints because I got one of those wayfinders from you.
yeah, I was actually really happy when I saw like someone's name that I recognized show up on that giveaway. I was really hoping that it wouldn't just be all strangers that I was giving these to.
No, I love this thing. I keep it on my desk, and it's just it's so pretty,
I'm
and
so glad you like it.
I love it. But yeah, 3D printing, I'm sure that's also made cosplay easier too.
Yeah, there's 3D printing on its own can have a really big learning curve to it. The machines aren't always user friendly and they kind of require a lot of tinkering and maintenance to keep in good working order.
Okay,
So if that's not your forte of kind of doing things, you might have a hard time with 3D printing as well. But
that's
I love tinkering with things and taking them apart to figure out how they work and fixing things myself when they break. So I've had a lot of fun working on it so far.
And it's a good time investment too, because anything you could ever want or need.
You can 3D
Yeah.
print, yeah.
You could 3D print a 3D printer.
In theory, you would also need to get the electronics to make it work, and you can't 3D print electronics that I'm aware of. I'm sure someone out there has figured out how to do it, but my little consumer grade basic entry level printer cannot do such things.
No, but I mean, like, yeah, that is. I just think it is really cool though. Where, like, I don't know. I feel like if I had a 3D printer, I would be unstoppable.
Oh, it's my favorite tool, like by a long shot for sure. Like all of my keyblades that I post pretty pictures of are off the 3D printer,
Okay,
and
so
there's definitely more I'm planning to work on in the future.
the one in the photo that you sent for this is 3D printed. That
Yes, that is my Ultima weapon and my baby that took like 3 or 4 months of work from when I started it to when it was all the way finished.
that is insane.
And I'm actually really sad because I learned last weekend that I screwed up some of the colors on it, and it's like driving me insane. The big white part of the sword is actually supposed to be translucent, and I had no idea.
Oh, this is her Ultima from Birth by
From Birth by Sleep, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I was helping my friend do some basic grinding for like just going through like command boards and like other stupid mini games, and I saw Ultima pop up. I'm like, wait, that looks wrong. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
I would have never noticed it until you pointed it out, to be honest. I was just impressed with how, like, detailed it is and how, it's incredible.
I love it. My We got started on that one. My friend Luna was able to get me the base model like ripped out of the 2.5 release of Birth by Sleep to start with.
Mhm.
They had to do a little bit of editing with it in Blender to make it like print ready and not all polygons.
Yeah.
And then it took, I think it was 14 pieces that it printed out in like 200 and some odd hours.
Oh, okay, yeah, and I always forget 3D printing also takes a lot of time too.
It is very slow. That is true.
But 200 hours or 214 you said?
I don't 200 some odd. I forget the exact total. I have it written down somewhere.
200 plus is still like, I don't know if I would be patient enough. I really don't think I could be. I'd be way too excited.
You'd have to
Then
be sure about what you're printing.
Yeah, oh
oh,
yeah.
yeah, for sure. And then once everything's all printed, I hate the way that like raw prints look, how you can see the little layer lines of how it's constructed. So I also spend an egregious amount of time sanding it smooth
Mhm.
and putting primer on it and filling any like gaps and scratches and sanding it smooth again and repeating that process until I'm actually insane.
That's okay, yeah, so I again I didn't know 3D printing had that much to it. Like, this is all kind of just info. I've never really looked into 3D printing at all either. So,
Yeah.
but that's insane. That's awesome. So like it's just it is still more work on top of it, but I mean, when you get that detail, I think all that work pays off.
Oh, 100%. It's a lot more than push button get prop, but it is 100% worth all the extra effort.
So is there um any tips you have for maybe new people who are interested in getting into cosplay, actually? For, like, let's say me and Brennan were like, well, yeah,
Hypothetically.
hypothetically, right? We wanted to like start. Where would you suggest that we start?
Well, I'd ask you one more question before I give you a recommendation, is if you are wanting to cosplay to learn crafting skills or if you want to cosplay to like just do the character fun time shenanigans.
I'm all about the fun time shenanigans. Like, I don't know. I think for like a first one, I would have to say for just fun because like I gotta know if I like it before I invest time in it. You know.
That makes sense. Then yeah, for the basic fun time shenanigans, there is no shame at all in going to like any of the many retailers that just like sell costumes and cosplay stuff pre-made and ready to go. A lot of times it can be like custom made to fit specific measurements if you need it to, so you can just say, hey eBay, hey AliExpress, whatever vendor you're getting it from, I would like to be Darth Vader in 3 weeks when this arrives, and hand them their money, and they will send you costume, and it's ready to go.
I like that. Okay. Yeah, because like I know like things like Spirit Halloween, they have been my friends for like different types of keyblades.
Oh
I
yeah, no, their keyblades are great. I definitely have like 2 or 3 of them on my wall right now.
yeah, I have a couple on my wall too actually. I love them. You know, um I think my favorite one is the Riku's Kingdom Hearts 3 keyblade. I think I got that from Party City though. I'm not sure.
Okay, yeah, I hadn't seen Spirit have Braveheart, or I think that was its name. I could be wrong.
But yeah, it's just like, you know, they're really cool and they're not. I think they were like $30 at most, so they weren't terrible.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Um. But yeah,
And
I
of course,
like. Oh,
we've all seen low budget cosplay.
Oh, those are hilarious. I love like the creativity is fantastic.
um. I don't actually know what you guys are talking about there.
Oh man,
Oh,
okay,
it
we've got some videos and some pictures to show you after this goes
Okay.
through, my friend.
Okay. Is there like any way you could expand on that though, or is it just something I
The
have to see to?
Well, there's a couple. It's usually in pictures. It'll be like a 4 panel thing of they'll show the reference picture. And a lot of the times it's just like this guy will be like, okay, what's like the silliest way to recreate this? And a lot of times it involves just like cardboard and Sharpie and weird ways of posing in front of the camera that you wouldn't expect to like have this passable recreation of whatever he's going after.
Okay. All right. I no,
Let me
I
see
love.
if I can find an example really quick.
yeah, I think that one of the most popular guys is Joseph Schooling, I think his name is. Uh,
Okay, so there's just people.
lone, yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
Lonely Man on Instagram, I think.
Okay, so there's just people who do this like just because, like,
Just yeah,
yeah,
just to
just
see.
because, yeah. I love that. Okay, I love that then.
It's not really stuff that you could like walk around in usually.
Oh,
Oh,
not at all. Found a
okay.
couple online really quick I'm sending you. I think it's a Piccolo and a Super Saiyan of a variety that I don't watch too much Dragon Ball, so I couldn't tell you exactly who it is.
Okay. Me,
But I just
might I might pull Brendan off the screen here, but he'll be okay.
But that's
Oh,
totally what's
oh,
appealing about
those are
cosplay to me is
croissants.
seeing what you can do with what you can get.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just like the most random stuff that's like you couldn't easily wear any of it to a convention, but it's passable and it's hilarious and you can recognize it with the reference right there.
that is so perfect.
So when you come up with a cosplay, do you like look at the character and then just kind of think about, oh, I could make this part by doing this technique or so, or do you just pick the character you want to do and then hope you can figure it out by the time you go to the convention?
So there's two ways I normally plan costumes. The first way is if there's a specific character I really, really want to do, I'll say I'm doing this. Screw whatever limitations may have been in my way to start with. And I'll make the pieces I know how to make or that I feel like I can puzzle out, and I'll usually like sit and do some good old fashioned Google foo and research to try and figure out how to make any of those pieces that I might be a little bit more iffy about.
Okay.
And then the second way that I choose costumes is since I love the crafting and the making side of cosplay, I will sometimes just focus in on like skills I want to practice. Like I want to practice like fitted like tailoring type costume and maybe like work on making my pleats a little bit better and cleaner. And then I'll be like, okay, I want to work on these skills and then choose from some of the characters I like or the things that I've been thinking about cosplaying but haven't got around to, and be like, okay, which character fits these skills that I really want to practice.
Now, what cosplay do you think gave you like the most experience? I guess when you built it that you've done.
Probably the last two that I finished were both kind of on that stream. I've all the sewing that I've done's been largely self-taught, so for a while any of the sewing I did was questionable at best, and we'll leave it there.
Okay.
So when I was making the Strelitzia costume that I first took to Kawaii Con a couple months ago, the biggest thing I wanted to work on was, okay, I want to work on practicing actually using a sewing pattern as opposed to just freehanding it in this horrible abomination inducing kind of way. And I got better at that significantly.
Okay.
So then this past weekend, I had a new Miku costume that I took out and competed with. And that one, I'm like, okay, I can use a sewing pattern now. Now I want to be able to modify a sewing pattern to make changes that are important for the aesthetic of what it's supposed to be. And I also wanted to work on like fluffy dresses because they're fun and I wanted to know how to make them.
Yeah.
So I made the Siren module from the Project Diva games, and it turned out really well, and I still love it. And I'm working through editing the pictures on that still.
Um.
So would you say like the sewing and textile work would be your forte?
3D printing is still my forte. I am been focusing on sewing a lot lately because I know it was a weakness of mine and I want to make it better. Because
I
if you only focus on your strengths, you're not going to get better at your weaknesses, and they'll still hold you back when you need to use them.
that's words to the wise right there for sure for anything ever. I do want to circle back to something you said though. So first of all, congratulations on that contest you won.
Oh, I didn't win.
Oh.
I got a judge. I got a judge's award. So
Oh, okay. Well, that's still cool. That's still really cool.
yeah,
Though.
I got an award, but I promise you, I did not win.
Okay. But now, what is a cosplay contest like?
Okay,
what do they look for and stuff?
all right. So the cosplay contests, at least the ones that I've entered recently,
Mhm.
have been largely split into like two kind of divisions. You've got like your craftsmanship contest, which is all about making the costumes and the crazy details and all the right processes and finishing it well. And you've got like the masquerade, like the skits, the performances, like the how well you look on stage and perform on stage. And I know very little about that side of it, so I'm not going to talk any more about that.
Okay.
But the craftsmanship side of the contest is usually you will have your whole costume on and everything ready to go. You have to attend a prejudging beforehand, so which is you will go to a room at a certain designated time throughout the convention, and you will have your costume. Usually, you'll also have a little like a book or a binder with like how you made your costume. Here's all the progress pictures. I did it. I promise. Please be proud of me, judges. And you hand that book to them. And you have a limited time to then talk about your cosplay. Like, here, look, I'm like, go through all the details. Like, I made this fancy hair clip. Here's how I did it. Here's how I styled the wig. And here's what I did for sewing, like the bodice, the dress, the gloves, and just.
It's like all the ins and outs of what you created. That's really cool.
Yeah, and then the judges will ask you questions and you answer them, and hopefully they like what you did. And then you go about your merry way for a couple hours, and then you'll come back for like the walk ons on stage, and everybody gets to show off. And then at the end of all that, they'll announce awards.
Oh,
So they grade how you did it, or
They'll
is
like,
that
they'll
more just for proof that you did do it?
like execution, like if you're sewing something, it's like, did you put it together properly? Like, are your seams straight? Does it fit you? Like, did you put buttons in properly? Is it this math hodgepodge of abomination thread that goes in 50 different directions underneath?
Oh,
Like,
so
this is
they're snooty about it. Like,
not necessarily like it's quality. Did you finish your seams properly, or did you try to cut corners, or and they'll like catch stuff like that when you're trying to cut corners.
okay.
Like, they'll, like, give you credit where credit is due, where you, like, go the extra mile to do, like, specific details or do certain processes really well.
Yeah, they want to see like the love you put in to the work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like,
Uh,
the love you put in and the skill you have while putting it together.
And I think that's such a neat way to like record your improvements almost.
Yeah.
Like imagine going with your first cosplay,
Mhm.
to one of those competitions and then like now to your most recent one. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I do save all my build books just for fun to, like, thumb through them every once in a while to be like, "Oh, huh, we're not gonna look at those seams today, those are real bad."
Yeah. So your build book, do you like also make your build book as you're creating your costume?
Not normally. I'll take pictures while I'm working on all the processes, but usually the build book is like the last thing I put together.
Okay.
Cause like if it sounds horrible, but like in a pinch, if I'm running low on time, it's easier to like type up the build book. Can't talk today apparently. Like while I'm like sitting in the back seat of a car going to a convention, whereas I can't like finish hemming my dress in the back seat nearly as easily.
That's a good point. Yeah. um no, I mean like I think it's you're kind of like it's almost like more like when you're writing an essay for like school or something and you're kind of typing it out like the last few hours before you have to send it in.
You know,
Um
time crunch is real and I shouldn't admit to it, but
but
we
I
all
you can't
we all have time management problems. We really do.
exactly. You're not the only one to ever like time crunch it, you know. um
Well, I've got a doozy for you.
Okay.
Would you like to share one of your best interactions while in costume and one of your worst?
that's a
Um,
good question.
Let me think. Because like 90% of my cosplay is Kingdom Hearts, and people don't always interact with those very much. I had a really cute, like, it was a really small little girl when I had my fancy Miku dress on this past weekend that like came running up to me to like grab my hand and want to get a picture with me. And like anytime little kids get excited about grown-ups in cosplay is like my favorite heartwarming thing. It's the best. There was also another fun one I had that was like many, many years ago now. I had an old toothless costume that I made for just casual wear. Was just wandering around like Grand Rapids Comic Con back when I was in college, and there was someone else dressed as Daenerys. We just like crossed paths walking around the dealer's hall, but like somebody asked if we could get a picture of like us two together because, dragon and mother of dragons. It's fun. So it's like, cool, we'll pose cute and then we'll walk our separate ways. And people are like, wait, they weren't here together? It's just silly, fun little things like that are great.
Yeah. I
Um,
love
Do
that
you ever get do you ever get that sense from people that they just don't really get it exactly what you're doing when you're out in costume?
Sometimes, like, within the convention spaces, it's usually people have a good grasp on what's going on. Most of the time, if it'll be like if you're walking to the parking garage or getting food, people will be like, "Well, what's going on down there today? We saw a lot of weird looking people." But people are usually pretty cool about it. It's cosplay's getting more and more mainstream as time goes by, so especially with like the big like San Diego Comic Cons and all your like Marvel, DC, Star Wars type costumes, a lot more people are understanding what's going on, even if you're not from one of those main major franchises.
Yeah. I think because Brendan and I used to go to like the Celtic Fair, like in high school and stuff too, and I remember we had access to like the drama room before we went, so
Okay.
we would get into like more I guess medieval costumes, you know.
Oh, that's
Vaguely.
awesome.
Yeah, but like we would like throw something together real quick. And I think that's kind of why you brought that question up though, because I remember some people like not really getting it either, you know, like
Yeah.
when we did that. But it is nice to hear that like that has become more mainstream and more accessible as time is.
Either
Yeah,
Yeah, it's either that or I'm like really, really, really oblivious to people judging me, and I can leave it that way. That's fine. I don't
that
need to know if they're judging me.
that's a good way to live too, honestly. um, so like as far as it, oh wait, did we ever hear like bad experience though you had like at a convention?
Most of the bad experiences are honestly like they're one-offs of like this person is just like someone that should be reported to convention security and you just get away from them and
Fair,
make your report and move on with your life.
fair enough. Yeah.
Wow.
Um.
So
Like,
like
sorry, go ahead.
I lost it.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I was
Wow,
just
that was quick.
And have you ever actually done cosplay with a partner? Like I've seen some really cool partner pieces too where um one of my favorites was at E3 I saw Cloud and Tifa like and it was why the remake like demo was out there too, so they were standing in front of like the Mako reactors like almost the whole day, like
oh, that's
taking
awesome.
photos with people. But
Yeah, no, like group cosplay and pair cosplay are like my favorites. I like them actually a lot more than solo cosplay most of the time. I've done some like Fate Grand Order cosplays with a really good friend of mine where she do like Shuten Doji and I do Ibaraki, but we do those mostly at Colossal Con, which is just casual swimsuit water park con. It's a great time.
casual
And
swimsuit water parks con,
yeah,
is that
no,
what
it's a convention that's held at like a
that,
big water park resort. It's
that
like
is
my favorite. It's my favorite thing, but it's also like a huge party con, so
that
it's not
is
everyone's cup of
cool.
tea. Oh
That
yeah.
is so cool. Oh my gosh. I would love to go to a water park convention. I think that well like a water park comic con video game con convention thing.
Yeah,
I'd love to know how cosplayers would implement waterproofing their
they
cosplays for
just
that.
do like a lot of the times they do like the swimsuit cosplays, like your
Mhm.
swimsuit versions of X, Y, and Z and all of your summer versions of characters. It's nice, it's chill, it's fun.
Yeah, no, that would be really fun. Especially I'm sure it's during the summer too. Like you said, it gets terribly hot in those costumes anyway, so it'd be nice to do it at a water park.
For sure.
Really cool.
Forget
Uh,
what train of thought we were on though.
I I totally derailed the train.
Uh, coupled cosplays, I
Oh
believe.
yeah, pair cosplays. So yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
we did the Fate ones there together. I won't do it without her though, because it just doesn't feel right.
yeah.
Need to do that cosplay with her. And then me and Chain of Fire, who's big with like the Kingdom Hearts wiki database type stuff. He's amazing. But we do some like Union Cross cosplays together at a bunch of the cons we go to where he'll do Ephemer and I've got Scold that I'll bring along.
Those are really. Did you have one of those at the convention?
Um, I didn't bring Scold with me to KH20 because again, it's one of those I feel weird wearing her without my friend to do Ephemer.
Fair.
But I've definitely got a couple of those pictures I can share with you now if you'd like.
Yeah, yeah, I can pull them up on here.
Yeah,
So
Um,
let
like does it help like meeting new friends and stuff, just hitting it off because you have costumes that would go together, and do you end up like walking around the convention together for the most of the point, or
Oh, 100%. Actually, at MagFest this past year, I met a fantastic group of friends that I am still talking to like easily multiple times a week. They are, let me double check all of their names because I'm used to referring to them by their first names now, and I probably shouldn't do that in public when they didn't give me permission to. So, my friend, Combat Kate Cosplay, I met at MagFest when I think I had Aqua on, and she had her anti Aqua on. And then her friend, I am not going to pretend to pronounce that properly. Yeah, I can't pronounce that. I can give you a link for that later, but I cannot pronounce his name.
oh,
This
And he was dressed as Terranort, and it was very fun. And then last friend, B to the Smithy, I probably butchered that badly too, was dressed as Sora, and we hung out a couple times throughout the course of MagFest. We talk pretty regularly, and we're planning more group cosplays to do at this next year's MagFest.
so are there like cosplay groups that don't really go well together? Like, will you never see the Mandalorians hanging out with the Kingdom Hearts cosplayers? And like, how serious do they take their role play?
Not not particularly. You're still people underneath all of your costumes. You're still chill and having friends. Maybe you're all a big group of friends, but you just want to cosplay different stuff on that day. So it's not unheard of to have like your Mario with your Kingdom Hearts, with your Fate, with your Near Automata all just chilling and getting burgers for lunch together.
just just call it a Smash Bros cosplay. Like
Yeah,
throw everyone in there.
close enough.
I like that though. Like, first of all, that photo you sent us to, I'll pull it up. But it was, I love that. Here it is. For just everyone else can see it. This is,
Oh yeah.
yeah, that is great. Like, you could just tell all the like, you love these games is why you make them. I'm sure too.
Oh, of course. You
Yeah,
love the games and you love getting to muck around with your friends and do all kinds of silly shenanigans together.
yeah, and I think like the well, actually, let me ask you this, like, community wise, like, what do you think as a whole of the cosplay community and like how they, how they interact, how they are, and is there like the goods and bads, I guess, of the cosplay community?
Like, for the most part, people are great. It's definitely like keeps getting better than it used to be. Like, lots of like positivity for everybody, no matter like who they are or what they're cosplaying. Like, you still get your jerks and trolls on the internet who are like, oh, you can't cosplay X because this stupid reason. Like, you can't cosplay Bayonetta because you're 4'8" or whatever.
Yeah,
But a
'cause-
lot a
sorry.
lot less of that than there used to be, so it's good. People support each other. People are happy to offer tips and advice and support each other for making good, amazing things.
So
That's
it sounds like it's very much a welcoming and anti-troll kind of community.
Yeah, like the trolls and creeps get shut down usually pretty quick unless you're in like a cluster that's just all trolls and creeps, and then just need to find a new friend group and it'll be fine.
yeah. It does sound though like, for the most part, for there's like, for every troll there's like five people who are very loving.
Oh, easily,
Yeah.
easily.
Which is that's great to know. Like, the more people that, like it. I think that's good information for people who are scared to actually finally take the jump and get into cosplay. Um, because like,
So
oh, go ahead,
go
Brent.
ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, because like I'm a bigger guy. Like that's kind of like one of the nerve wracking things I feel like about cosplay. It's like you're gonna get like, oh, you can't Superman or whatever because you're fat or like whatever. But I think it's nice to hear that it is a loving community in that.
It is. And then some people will even use like cosplay as motivation for like improving like physical wellness and or physique, like guys getting super swole and trying to go to the gym all the time to do like extra accurate like Geralt cosplays.
That's also
Like
really cool. Yeah.
like motivation to be a better version of you comes from all different places, so don't tell it to go away when it comes knocking.
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Brennan? I totally interrupted you.
Well, I just had a question that's a little different. If I were to encounter a wild cosplayer, what would the best kind of compliment for a costume be?
I mean, just be honest. You can tell them they look great or that you're excited to see them doing whatever character they're doing.
What's one of the best compliments you've ever gotten on a costume?
Huh. Trying to think.
Like, do you like it more when people are like, "Oh, the seam work is really fantastic on this piece," or "Oh, I love how straight you cut the EVA foam here."
I don't think most compliments usually get that specific unless you're talking to like either a judge or someone who's very very up close and in your business. Most of the time people are just supportive and it's like, "Oh, you look great. You look so pretty."
Like, I love that out. I love that character or something. To.
Yeah, like just the good uplifting compliments are always good. It's sometimes the ones where it's like, "Oh, you're the best of this character that I've ever seen." Like they're flattering, but it's also kind of like this double-edged sword because it's like, "Cool, you're complimenting me, but you're also putting down like all these other people who did really really good on theirs too." So, like those are like it can be flattering for a moment, but the you're the best X is usually
It's not a fun one to hear.
yeah. Like,
Hmm.
it comes from a good place most of the time, but there's definitely better ways to word it.
That's that's interesting because like I also feel like people who say like you're the best this will also say that to like the other person to make them feel good too. Like
Yeah.
like so I but that is interesting though to hear it from like that other perspective of it.
Yeah, like,
Um
we all lift each other up, and declaring one person the best is just it's this weird, icky feeling sometimes.
Well, we've obviously discussed um, the topic of body types and ethnicities, but what would be the worst thing you could say to someone in costume?
Your scar's on the wrong side. Like, nitpicking any, like, stupid little, like, asinine detail is probably not what you wanna go up to someone and have your first impression ever be.
Best Avatar reference for this for this. I love it. Um, I was also gonna ask because I'm sorry. I know there's like people who like are very like they want to get photos with their other cosplayers and stuff too, and I know there's kind of like people who are like pushy about it and stuff too. Like, what's the best way to go up to a cosplayer and like, hey, I want to get a photo with you? I mean,
Literally just that. "Hey, can we get a hey, can I get a photo with you?" It's
yeah,
literally that easy.
cause like I've seen people like just kind of push their way in and just get like a selfie with them without asking and stuff, and like
Yeah, that's not cool.
yeah, exactly. It's like they're just like they're just here to have fun too, like but like
Yeah, like
oh
sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I feel like the best compliment you could be go is like, can I get a photo with you? Like not run up there and just assume you can get do that.
Yeah, like, always ask first. Sometimes they're in the middle of, like, a shoot that they paid a photographer for, sometimes they're in a hurry to get somewhere, and sometimes they just want a break.
Yeah.
Does that ever get annoying for you being treated like a celebrity at a convention, or do you know what you're getting into? Kind of.
Usually, you know what you're getting into, like Sometimes it can be more than you expect. One of the first times I wore aqua to a full convention, I had my one of my friends was doing like an axle at the same time, and we kept making jokes that there was this one hallway we couldn't walk down without getting stopped at least once. It was just very funny. We were
I
just mad that we had nothing that like we were rushing to do or rushing to get to, but it was a good time.
yeah.
Have you ever had to like ditch your costume just so you could enjoy the convention? Or
I will sometimes ditch the costume for like physical wellness more than for people reaction. I've never really taken it off to like hide from people, but I'll definitely take it off because like if the aqua corset's like too tight for too long, or if I'm getting nasty blisters from my shoes, or if I'm sweating buckets under my wig, I'll definitely go and change.
Yeah, because I think I remember, like, yeah, you wore a Larxene costume, didn't you, at KH20?
I shed that costume
Yeah,
that
I remember that.
very fast.
You
The
were
inside of that coat was so sweaty. Oh my god.
you were brave for that, but I know they were doing the contest there. But
Yeah.
yeah, you were brave for that. Because it was
I'm like,
I
it's
think it
March, it's winter, it'll be fine. And it was not fine.
yeah, it was like the hottest day of the weekend there.
Mistakes were made.
Yeah, that coat could not be fun. And also I feel bad for the guy who was in the armored like lingering will costume,
Oh yeah.
the terror.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's awesome. I love watching his stuff on like Twitter and Instagram. I can send you the link to his account too.
Oh yeah, that'd be. I'll put all these links in the description if you can send them. But like, yeah, he had like this whole. Just because I know you weren't there, but and you know, but he had like this whole armor like set on, and I think it was on like a almost a onesie type thing, maybe.
Yeah, he had like a bodysuit underneath it that all of the armor pieces were velcroed onto. I think on the Friday we were like talking back and forth like crazy about like 3D printing and armor making, and it was very exciting.
Yeah, and I was just like that. Oh, did he 3D print those pieces?
Yeah.
That's insane. I thought they would have been like after watching that video. I thought they would have been foam or something. But
Nope,
that
they are 3D printed, and then he'd used like vacuum forming to make the visor for the helmet so he could still see through it. So it's like a piece of plastic. You use heat and vacuum suction to make the shape you want, and then you can dye it from there if you need it to be tinted a specific color.
that's so cool. That is so cool. Um, let me. I have a whole list of questions, and I'm like trying to go through them right now and like figure out what.
Like you came
Yeah,
prepared.
no, I wrote stuff down because I always try to glance at my notes during these things because you know it's just you'll get sidetracked too. Like normally one question leads to like five more questions and like a
Oh
million
yeah.
topic, and so I try not to like make an outline, but just bullet points, you know, stuff I want to. Oh, you sent me. Oh, this was the. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, that's his Instagram profile. His like I will always like stan his work. He does a really good job with all the projects I've seen him do.
That that's so cool. So like, would you would that be something you would want to do too? Like an arm, if there was like an armor there.
Oh, definitely. I occasionally like flirt with the idea of doing like Aqua's Keyblade armor, and I've got the models from 2.5 to work off of if I feel bold and adventurous to work on it.
Oh,
I
gotcha.
just have a couple other projects that are on my immediate to-do list before I can get to that.
Is there any sneak peeks you can give us for something you're excited about, or are you keeping that quiet for now?
There's another Miku that I'm working on specifically to just practice more sewing skills. There's a my friend like Cabletown Art, he did a bunch of fan art designs of some of the Kingdom Hearts characters a while back, like if they were in different worlds.
Uh-huh.
And there's an aqua from one of those that I'm planning to do for MagFest next year, which is going to be fun. I'm planning to do Ava from the Union Cross, one of the foretellers, at some point. I finally found someone who sold me 3D model for her Keyblade, so I'm very excited to get to work on that too.
And
So
that's
do you ever do any like original or mashup idea kind of costumes or
Um, if I wanted to, and I normally don't. A lot of people do. I just have too long of a laundry list of things I want to do from already established characters.
um. So you said you bought the Keyblade resource too. Where can like people who are interested in getting those find those?
Etsy is fantastic for a lot of patterns. If you need something specific, it's easy to find. There's other sites like Thingiverse or Cults or for like 3D print if you're into printing and need files, those are great to go to. Aside from that, like your average Joann's or Michael's has a lot of really good like sewing and crafting resources for you.
Hmm. Oh yeah, that's cool. Because I like someone's making these resources too. So I didn't even think about like they probably make a lot of money selling them and like
Yeah.
make it. I've never actually thought about that aspect of cosplay. Because I when I think of cosplay, I think of the costume. Like I don't think of the props too much. I don't think I think of just the costume, and it is very interesting to hear. Um, there's so many different routes that you have to consider, for sure.
Yeah, I mean the end costume is usually like the goal and the most important part to get to.
Yeah.
I enjoy making and I enjoy learning how to make in many different ways. So that's where my journey into cosplay is taking me.
Well, we are coming up on our hour right now.
Already? Holy
Yeah,
cow.
we are at like 50. This is where I try to pull it. We're at like 57 minutes right now. So I
Okay.
just wanted to give everyone a chance to get any final questions or points out real quick.
Final questions. Let's go.
Final question. All right. Um. So I'm gonna ask you one just more about um cosplay. Just well, obviously cosplay, but I'm thinking of a good one right now, and I'm like I want it to be a good one. What actually did we ask you why you got into cosplay? Did we ever ask you that?
I don't think so, but it's a very simple answer as I just
Okay.
thought it would be fun, so I tried it and then I was right. It was fun, so I kept doing it.
Okay, well, I like that, first of
Simple
all.
answer.
I feel like that's an important question, and I can't believe I didn't write it down. Like, what?
It's supposed to be fun. The day you stop having fun is the day you shouldn't be doing it. That
Yeah,
being said, we always joke that cosplay is pain and like the process of making it is sometimes like lots of stress and tears and crying. But at the end of the day, if you're not having fun during like your whole arcing process and especially like wearing it at the convention, then that's probably a good sign for if you really want to be doing it or not.
yeah. No, and yeah, it's important to do the things you love, and if you love it, keep doing it. Yeah, for sure. And yeah, like you said, when it gets boring, stop. I
Yeah.
think that's again another good advice for everything in life too. Not just I love that.
It's amazing how many things you learn from your hobbies can carry over into the rest of your life to make you a better, well-rounded person.
Yeah. Um, so I do want to give you a chance again to just socials where we can find you, where we can check out your stuff.
Yeah, I am pretty active on Instagram and Twitter. I am on both under the username Violet Unversed. You can check out all my stuff there. I usually post twice a week. Sounds about right.
Perfect. Oh wow, I didn't realize it was that often too. That's awesome.
Because the algorithm hates me, but it's fine. I'll still keep posting because I love the pictures and I love editing them.
That's cool. I didn't even think about the editing process on photos too. That's another whole realm I've never would have even considered in the it's crazy. There's
That's a lecture for next time.
yeah, exactly. But Violet, thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate you for being here, for joining us, for sharing your craft and your art.
Yeah, it's been a blast. Thanks for having me. I'd love to be able to chat with you guys again.
Yeah. Anytime you, I tell this to our guests, and it's always true. Anytime you want to be back on, just let us know, and we'll have you back. So,
All right. Well,
uh,
take care. Have a good night or a good day or good whatever you are doing right now.
perfect. Good night, everyone. Bye.